She doesn't want to heal. She wants somebody who doesn't know she's lying. So if you've ever been with a woman and, you guys at some point, the honeymoon stage phased out, the reality of the situation of the relationship kicked in, and you came across some, disagreements or problems that were very easily solvable. However, from the woman's side, you felt like she's unwilling. She becomes extremely anxious to even address them. What most likely happens in these scenarios is that you are dealing with a woman that has some really, really, really deep wound. And in order for this issue to be resolved and to be worked through, she actually has to work through something that she's probably been avoiding since childhood, been avoiding since the teenage years even. Because let me explain something to you. When bad things happen in life, we experience trauma, we experience grief, we experience negative emotions. And if we are not able to sit in the grief and sit in these negative emotions, we have to distract ourselves from them, or we have to suppress them. And with wounded people, unhealed people, damaged people, broken people, whatever label you want to put on it, they escape these things and they latch onto distractions, and these distractions can come in the form of work, other relationships, TV, eating, etc., etc., etc. And you can find these, because guys do this too, right? So women can relate to this as well. You find it very confusing as to their behavior when they refuse to work through this very simple issue. And the reason why they do is because they have been suppressing a lot of things in their life that they don't really want to work through and deal with. These things, as a result, act as subconscious rudders into how they go through life and what they choose to allow and disallow in their life. It is easier for them to just cut it off and walk away, and even though they still care about you and miss you, they will still refuse to work through it, because working through it, man, they have a whole identity built around this unhealed part of themselves, right? You have people like Elon Musk, for example. He runs $3 billion companies. Running a $100 million company is a magical feat. Running a $1 billion company is crazy. But you got 3 companies worth, each one is over $1 billion. A few of them will be $1 trillion if he keeps going at this rate. And all he does is work, work, work. And you think like, wow, that's so admirable. That's so ambitious. But you don't know about his backstory. His dad is a psycho. His dad is literally a psycho. This guy is basically diving all into work as a distraction to avoid the wounds of his childhood. And when women have, or when men have parental wounds in adulthood, they are looking for distractions and coping mechanisms. They're not looking for healthy relationships that hold them accountable and allow them to grow out of their dysfunction, because that's what relationships really are. Real love exposes your dysfunction. Real love exposes the parts of yourself that you're not addressing. That's why it's so intense. And in the beginning, when you're feeling like this is so amazing, I'm so happy I met this person, all those butterflies, etc., that's, first of all, that's like your inner soul, your inner child feeling, seen and wanted after so many years of not feeling seen and wanted. But as the relationship kind of progresses and the unhealed parts of yourself start to play out subconsciously, because the psyche is a beautiful, weird, and dark thing all at the same time, the unhealed parts of that child start to come up. And people don't want to address that stuff. Those things if you start going into ego death, and when you start going into, past childhood traumas and things of that nature, when you start to heal from that, bro, you might just quit your job. You realize that the career path you took in life was a coping mechanism. You start to realize the friends that you surround yourself with were a coping mechanism. You start to realize that the people you've been dating were all coping mechanisms. You've created a life around this unhealed part of yourself. And now that you've healed it, you start to wonder, well, who am I? A lot of people, their whole identity is built around the bad things that happen to them, and they hold on to them. Like, people these days, they lead with their trauma. They love to brag about their trauma, what they went through, recreating it on a daily basis by talking it into existence. And how this comes back to my original point is that when you get into relationships with these people and you become a strong mirror, the more in love they are with you, the more you mirror them, right? And they can't handle that, and they will run around. And a lot of times it's very heartbreaking for a lot of guys and women to see how fast, exes moved on, but they haven't moved on. They're just latching on to something that can distract them from the pain that you've basically shown them was always there. And that's why a lot of people who deal with avoidance are dealing, this is what's going on underneath all of it. Because there are people that are interested in you, and then there's people that are interested in you, the people that are not interested in you, and then people that are interested in you but act not interested. And those, they get the label of avoidant, where you break up but they're checking all your stories, they're stalking you, they're asking friends about you, etc., etc., etc. So that's kind of where it goes. If you guys are in a position with a girl and you're just kind of confused as to how she handled the breakup, a lot of times it's not really yours to carry. It's them running from themselves. And it's unfortunate, because when you care about somebody, you want to help them, but you really can't help these people. Them dealing with what's really going on in their life will completely flip their lives upside down. And unfortunately, at some points, usually these people, when they actually do get down and do the real work and really do address those core wounds, sometimes it's much later in life, and by then things have changed too much and there's nothing there for you to go back to, guys. But like, comment, subscribe. Nav Sultan, Sultanic Thoughts. Watch another one.